What up, my freaks? RuinousInsight here with part 11 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Gorbad Ironclaw Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, the cowards hid behind the walls, whether it be the Skaven at Karatamans to minus 32, wow. That's a fair bit, but anyway, whether it be the Skaven at Karatamans tomb, or whether it be the dwarfs of Karakern, but both were torn down in their time. The Mangler Squigs also did much mangling, as they faced off against two armies to the, I forget what the place was called, Stretto, or outside of Stretto, in Dark Maiden Pass, and we will be moving outward towards the rest of the Southern Realmers with these armies here, while waiting to keep recruiting and stuff. Definitely one of those campaigns where we could basically never get any positive income. Anyway, in terms of what we got to do this time, Gorbad has moved southward again, as he's going to look for Mr. Carnal Stare, and we're going to wipe him out for good, since they can't be trusted, and they did betray us. Let's get everybody started here. So Blorgrader and Co, I guess all of you can now move. Well, we'll need more armies here anyway, so we'll move you all forward. WAAAGH in tow, and, well, everything in tow, really. And as long as you're traveling together, you should be able to heal up at the same time as also be relatively safe from the other forces. Spite Backbiter, you're not the recruiter, you're here to leech XP and then eventually become your own army. Probably move you north eventually as well. I do expect that the Wood Elves will at some point declare war on us, so we do have to be ready for that, since we kind of have territory that we're sharing. We're probably going to have to, sooner rather than later, wall up these territories, like Krenal here. I don't want to lose the Shaman's Hovel, and the Mushroom Distillery is giving us Goblin Big Boss capacity, so you know what? I think we'll wait, at least for now. Also, what do we have here? Troll Blubba and Terrify. Okay, nothing that we want. Goblin Big Bosses, we are waiting for a Skinna, because we already have a Wiggler. Black Orc Big Bosses will be needed elsewhere, and we don't have any additional Night Gobbo Big Boss capacity. Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see what else we got. Argor Throat Cruncher. You can't reach this guy, so I guess we'll grab this little island first. Wait, what's the likelihood that he can reach Pavizano? I guess we'll find out. Go here to the edge of this island, and hopefully we can still go into March stance immediately after. And oh, it's out of range. Darn. And we'll go for, let's say Hall of True Silver. Oh, Book of Ashur, nice find. And we can go into March stance and go right back in Pavizano. Good. Alrighty, and Ensorcel Blades, melee attack, melee defense +8, that'll help. To some degree anyway, depending on if we have this army fight the Vampire Coast here. Book of Ashur, we're going to give that to somebody, though yet I have not decided yet who. Also, I think you deserve a Forbidden Rod. We get an extra one. And one of them is on Glugzag. Okay, Glugzag, you're going to lose the Forbidden Rod because these should always be on the River Troll Hags. I mean, in theory, these guys, now that they have Ragnarok spiders and stuff, they'd also be a good option. But we certainly don't need two Forbidden Rods in one army, at least not right now. At least not until we have a lot more Forbidden Rods. Where that came from. Ublug. I mean, in theory, this is going to be difficult. In practice, we should probably just attack. I mean, we're probably not going to get a better opportunity to wipe out Thorgrim's main stack, such as it is, and we do still have our WAAAGH in tow, so we can at least send their numbers at the enemy. And admittedly, Thorgrim's current army doesn't have a lot in the way of range damage, so we should be able to deal with it. Anyway, Gleaming Penanton, I don't know, you for now, doesn't really matter. And we're gonna fight this one. Should be fun. Yeah. Alrighty, what do you say? Smash 'em? Nash 'em? I don't know, something 'em. And I'm sure we'll something 'em indeed. Anyway, here we go. We got Thorgrim Grudgebearer himself against us, who currently has one of the best campaigns on the channel going, but I don't think he's going to survive dealing with the one of our weakest armies, the Goblin Wolf Rider army, but it would probably be a rather tough fight. Thorgrim himself will by and large have to ignore. He may be slow Thorgrim here as opposed to the fast Thorgrim in our dwarf campaign. I'm gonna miss fast Thorgrim so much. Seeing him move slowly again is going to feel so strange when he's basically cavalry and the other thing. But anyway, yeah, he's got pretty crazy stats: 90 melee defense, 141 armor, probably solid amounts of resistances and stuff as well, and we'd have to use up way too many resources in order to bring him down. Frankly, the same is kind of true of things like the Hammerers here, but, well, we're just going to have to overwhelm them. Unfortunately, our Wolf Rider army here has racked up a nice little WAAAGH to send at the enemy, and they can take the hits from the Hammerers and the blasting charges from the Miners, what have you, until the Wolf Riders are ready to go in and then clean up. Anyway, we're going to start the battle off by moving towards the enemy army on our left flank with both the Wolf Riders and the Wolf Chariots. All the range, basically. The idea is to peel away that enemy Gyro Bomber. Still find it very strange that it says Gyro Bombers when it's a single unit in this, but anyway, peel away the Gyro Bomber and start hosing it down, pin cushioning it as best we can. Now, we do barely any damage on any of these guys, so I guess we're going to have to see. Wow, 68 so far on the Goblin Wolf Chariots. Are they actually missing every shot? Huh. Let's see that again. They got 8 units, and I'm pretty sure they just fired again. Ah, there we go. 1 hit. Oh, wow. Oh, like 50 damage. That's, man. Okay, well, I know they're goblins, and greenskins aren't really known for their accuracy. Although, admittedly, goblins are supposed to be more accurate than orcs, but nonetheless. Anyway, all 5 units will begin pin cushioning this Gyro Bomber. It's down to about half HP with all 5 units firing away at it, and while it is firing its machine gun back at us, or at least attempting to do so, we might have enough weight of fire to constantly stagger it and prevent it from firing, actually, here. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's able to fire back. It's definitely a thing. I've definitely encountered the same thing when using these things in my own Thorgrim campaign, so you gotta be careful when they're under significant amounts of fire. It's managed to do 0 damage, and it's going to rout. Alright, well, gotta appreciate the ability to stagger it, at least. And down goes the Gyro Bomber, having bombed not a single thing. And on top of that, it looks like the action of destroying the Gyro Bomber has sufficiently annoyed Thorgrim's army into starting to move towards us. He and his shield bearers will extremely slowly move towards us at the same speed as the rest of his troops, and oh wow, 42 speed on, wow, that's actually surprising. Wait, the Dwarf Warriors are moving at 33. Why are the Quarrelers moving at 42? What the heck? I don't remember my Quarrelers being that fast. Where did you get this other? I'm gonna double check. Interesting. Well, either way, and not super important. Maybe he's defeated Tretch Craventail and thus has bonus move speed? That wouldn't account for all of it, though. Curious. And we've got, I thought it was another Gyro Bomber, but it's a Master Engineer floating overhead. Anyway, time to move the Y units forward. We also have a decent amount of range to provide support with the addition of two units of Bolt Throwers. I'm gonna try to knock down that Engineer as well with a little bit of casting, Spirit Leech together with a Vindictive Glare, and at the same time try to close the distance with as many of those blasting charges as possible. Can't be having them chuck those charges, at least not at our actual army units. The Y units, obviously, we don't really care about. Alrighty, and that's why the wolves are on the flanks. We've got 1 unit of blasting charges pretty much destroyed by all 5 of these guys, and they will just continue moving away long before the enemy can actually chuck a charge. And, were they about to chuck a charge and then they broke just as they did? That was pretty neat. Anyway, bounce power is at about 65% in our favor. Not doing too bad. Our army has engaged theirs, and now that the enemy is distracted, it's time for the pump wagons to start breaking through the enemy lines. Should make dealing with at least some of the enemy a fairly decent bit easier. That said, judging by the HP values, we can still see many of the Longbeards and the Hammerers are hovering close to 90% of their HP. They've certainly taken some damage, but there's gotta be a lot more where that came from. Fortunately for us, however, over on the very flanks, the most dangerous position in an army, generally speaking, we've been able to overrun a couple of units. 2 units of blasting charges are out, another one is on the way out, and then 3 units of Longbeards and Miners have also otherwise now shattered. The Hammerers, I believe these are the Grudge Settler Tier 5 Hammerers, have bashed apart 133 gobos and racked up 12,000 damage. We're going to close the distance with some of those pump wagons and just try our best to overrun them. More of our pump wagons are getting sent routing, sent packing, sent running. And it looks like more of our other units are about to run away as well. Going to try to support them with a nice little itchy nuisance to reduce the enemy melee attack. And we are continuing to ignore Thorgrim right in the center of the battle. Ouch. Okay, well, by ignore him, I mean send basic gobos at him until he reaches his kill count and can't move anymore. Anyway, bounce power is at about 85% in our favor now, and we continue overrunning any individual unit we can. The enemy's rear lines have by and large collapsed as the wolves and pump wagons, and just generally fast movers, have overrun all the enemy quarters and such. And of course it'll take a little bit of extra time to deal with all of the enemy melee that remains. Slowly but surely we should be able to overrun them as well. And of course we have a little tiny bit of trickle damage coming in over the course of the battle as the arrows from the arrow boys and the goblin archers continue to do a little bit of work. We also do have a couple of units of orc biggins on the front line. This one's gotten 74 kills and 11,000 damage, which is probably pretty solid against the Dowians, in particular against units like Hammerers. So good for them. I'm gonna have one of the goblin big bosses lead the charge of those biggins against. Oh wow, this guy, he had an arrow in the side of his head. It just reminds me that I think when in the end times when Grimgor got teleported to Middenheim, he thought he was in he thought he was in heaven basically in Gork and Mork's hall, just seeing everybody fighting, and then he took an arrow to the head. It didn't kill him, obviously, but the arrow in the side of the head of that biggin reminded me of it. But anyway, at least I think it was Grimgor. I could be conflating things. Either way, doesn't matter, as the last of the enemy units that were holding on, the Dwarf Warriors, Great Weapons, the Longbeards, the Hammerers, are just about out. Everybody has been chased down by the fast-moving wolves, so few units have been able to rally. In fact, no unit have been able to rally once they routed. And now Thorgrim will rout. Somehow we did manage to actually do about a quarter of his HP and damage. I'm not even sure what happened there. Oh, actually, I am sure what happened there. We were firing away at him for about 10 minutes straight with the 2 goblin bolt throwers. Yeah, all right. Well, they did something. It only took 10 minutes. I figured he's the biggest target on the map, and maybe they'd be able to do something to him, but I'm not so sure. Anyway, a lovely little fight and impressive work by the Wolf Rider army. All right, very nice. We did have to sacrifice a fair bit of the WAAAGH units, but that's hardly surprising, and they certainly served their purpose and allowed us to knock out Thorgrim's main stack, and give us a pretty good battle at that. 14k reward, a free Trickster's Shard, which... yeah, you could probably hold on to here, at least for now, though you're probably going to stay on the wolf rather than on the spider, I think, depending on, well... No, we can't give the big old spider stock, can we? I don't think we can, so anyway, there isn't any point in sacking the place. We'll just occupy it, because we've already sacked it a million times, and you know what, uncollect, well, no, just keep collecting the income, at least for now. Swindler, and oh, only one Swindler. rude. Free +10 research rate from defeating Thorgrim as well. Always nice to have. Certainly a farmable trait if you are looking to farm traits, which admittedly here we're not. Anyway, you can go for another raid in stashes, and oh, the other territory that's part of this territory is Munzig. Well, we were looking to attack these guys anyway and get some variety and facing off against the Tomb Kings while we head into the Empire. Speaking of heading into the Empire, unfortunately the interest in this campaign is beginning to wane at this point, and we do certainly have to start thinking about our objectives and heading towards the end of the campaign. Still a while off, admittedly, but we have to be a little bit more objective in terms of the going for objectives, and those objectives are this, at least for long victory, as attacking Anvisenland and Reichland, which we were going to do anyway, so luckily it's right there. We just have to finish up with what we're doing with Gorbad, as he certainly wants to be leading. And I suppose while he's on the way, this will give us time to get up a few more tier 5 things, and then start getting a few of the fancier units, the Arachnaroks, the Savage Rogue Idols, or just the Rogue Idols in general, I guess, and Black Orcs, Savage Orcs. What other units are we missing? I think just those. Oh, and then the Biggins stuff, the boar chariots and the Biggins. Since we've used plenty of regular orc boys, but otherwise we've gotten tons and tons of squigs now. We got plenty of wolves running around. Still a little bit light on the wolf chariots, but we'll fix that. Yeah, just need the tier 5s for that stuff. All right, and a few more trolls. We got several armies with regular trolls now. Just need the either them to evolve or to build others. Anyway, Bartorg Backbiter, you are going to need to sort of swap units with Skarsnik now, and okay, I guess you're just going to underway stance here and then head towards Skarsnik. It's going to take him 2 turns to continue recruiting, and he really needs to do his quest battle to counteract the public order. And oh, that's not good. Are you guys willing to peace out? You are no, not for 8.9k. That's insanity. Why does it cost so much? -3 is 9k. It's not like our empire is making a lot of cash per turn. Tremendously rude, but not much we could do about it, unfortunately. I think this means that we have to keep the giants and the Doomdiver catapults here rather than delivering them to Glugzag, because if they leave, this place will be destroyed. Maybe I should have built a defensive structure here after all, but I'm disinclined to get rid of the Mushroom Distillery because we still need plenty of goblin big bosses. Well, what can you do? We'll just deal with it. Anyway, you are then going to stand still. You are... I mean, we could start recruiting. 225, eh? That's expensive. It's a damn well expensive, but what are you gonna do? Alright, let's get, I don't know, let's get 6 Biggins and... Oh, we can't build chariots here. Oh, they only take 1 turn to... Oh, wow. They take 1 turn to build, but they are fairly costly. Alright, well, start with the Biggins then. Fine, let's do 8. We might not need that many, but I don't want to spend time building more. And we'll deliver them to Mr. Blorg. And we'll see what, other than the Boar Boy Chariots, what else we put with those, and then just swap out units as needed, rather than probably using 8 Biggins, which might be too many. I don't want the army to function similar to the Berserk Boys army. And because theoretically it's kind of similar at the current rate, but we'll just deal with it by getting a few more units in there. Anyway, Garrison Lore not moved on science skill points, building upgrades here are not moved up, post available, and I believe we're ready to end the turn. Anywhere likely to attack us? I don't know. We're about to find out. End turn. Alright, Wafails, Creeping, Death Creator, Technology Researched, great. Where is Isolal going? Better not be going for undefended Villa da Vincia. That would be tremendously rude. Keep him hungry. Tactic unlocked. Oh, good. And the way that we unlocked is by building these 2 additional Goblin Wolf Raiders. Alright, Grom remove tactic, Gorbad remove tactic. Everybody's losing their tactics. Blooded Axe tribe is spawned, and generally speaking, the AI loves to spawn Beastman forces in your territory. The heck? Okay, he spawned them right beside Gorbad, which is kind of interesting, but I think we can't leave them here, can we? I guess we'll just auto-resolve this. Free public order bit. Oh, the Confederation debuff is finally gone, but we'll take a look, and who knows? For all we know, it'll do another Confederation debuff immediately. Anyway, I'll just wipe these guys out rather than keeping them around here. And we'll chase them down. Like so. And this is obviously a waste of time. Hopefully it doesn't do too much damage, but it's basically gores and ungores. Huh. That's interesting. It didn't hurt these two higher level boars, but it did hurt the rest. You know what? I think we need to heal up. It's a little bit annoying, but do it. Because we need to have the full army ready to go to fight Colonel Stair. You're gonna heal to full over the end turn. Get a free swindler. More free swindlers. Ever the swindlers. And we got a decent bit of money out of that, even if we didn't get the control bonus. Anyway, you stay here. We are going to go back through Trollin in order to get bigger and better bosses and then unlock the legendary Oglock the Horrible, or Oglock the Borable, as somebody called him in the Grimgore's campaign. Anyway, Blorg. And co. That's the best way to do this. I guess we could send Muncha Edbut, who's our main sort of actual proper stack here, towards Queequel, and then maybe the enemy will sally out of there? We'll see, especially if he goes in by himself. Or in the alternative, send the WAAAGH at the enemy and then send the squigs squigging on in. You guys would not, by the looks of it, be able to reach Skosezi. You can go to Stiani, though, and... Ooh, hello, we get 1, 2... We get a fair amount of units there. Alright, you're gonna head here, further and further away from your giant and your Doom Diver catapults. What can you do? And yeah, that Pyrrhic Victory looks like worthy of our attention. We will fight it in a bit. Let's make sure that we move everybody else around. Demolition complete boar pens. Where did I demolish this? Oh, here in Keratomin's tomb. Makes sense. We need the Raiden stashes. And technically we need the... Oh man, minus 14. Yeah, we really need Skarsnik to do his quest. I also wonder how many rats are here. We can reach Troll Zags. I guess we're about to find out. I wonder if it's a walled settlement or not. Either way, it's a minor settlement, so you should be able to deal with it. Go, go, go. And, oh, or will you be able to deal with it? I just realized there is a small problem. Wait, first of all, are you... Okay, you don't have walls, so it is a field battle. The problem is we lost Stick'em Like Pigs, so that's a major power-up that is no longer available to the forest goblins, which ain't great. Now, we do have a few other plans available to us. Arrow Catch would be a nice little bit of missile block chance for the goblin infantry, might be a decent option instead. While we wait for Stick'em Like Pigs, which is going to be on a cooldown for 3 turns. Yeah, we need something to use until we get that. Huh, wait, we can use Block and Smash here? Why? Oh, I know, no we can't. Ha, it's the first one we can. I just saw the available. Alright, fine. We'll do Arrow Catcher. It's pretty nice. It gives the big amount of missile resistance and additional missile block chance. Although, I'm curious. We're at plus 25% missile block chance. These guys currently have... 70%. So if we get this trick works wonders. It's 95%. I'm pretty sure that that's past its maximum, but still pretty good, especially since this Skaven have a lot of the slingers and stuff like that. Anyway, we'll fight this in a bit. Let's move everybody else around first in the same way that we've been doing so far. So since you guys can't reach Skosezi, I guess you're gonna go out here. Blorg will keep leading, and Azdrag will keep following. This isn't... I mean, I know that this army currently echoes this army, but it's going to change into a different type of army later. It's just holding on to the extra units, which I feel like we should keep on using. Oh, you actually shouldn't be in Pavona, because... Wait, are you able to raid? Are you in enemy territory right now? You are, okay, beautiful. Can you head out there too, or are you blocking? I can't quite tell. Move here. Move here. Beautiful, alrighty. And then you, sir, can move into Pavona. Alright, and then we'll go for Skosezi. We should be able to reach Varezzo in 9 turns. I think we got it. Alright. I was getting a little bit concerned. Anyway, Argor. I don't know where that other little army went, but I guess it doesn't really matter. You're going to go into the enemy territory and move towards raiding them. Ah, there they are. Raid them, get ready to attack them again. Beautiful. As long as we're raiding, we are kind of counteracting the horrifically negative cash influx that we got going on right now. Anyway, Morglas, you are supposed to reach Skarsnik, which I should actually be able to do fairly quickly. Good job, buddy. And Zugrak, you are headed... Actually, where are you headed? You're supposed to reach the spider guys. Well, actually, we want one of you or a similar lord in several spider armies, and I gotta double check whether... Okay, now we got a Chanton one, and we got an Evil Eye one. I want another Arachnophobia one. Although, wait. Did we get one for Skarsnik? We did, alright, and we got one with Evil Eye. Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. It's not anything crazy, but I don't want to fish for traits, or at least spend too long fishing for traits, I admit. Anyway, I would like you to go to Mosak, like so, just close enough so that you can move on in. Like so. You guys keep on raiding, and then you can go to the edge of this place. There we go. A little bit of extra rating, and then we'll sack Moasak, or I'll most likely do it between the episodes if the stars should align. Anyway, you can go into replenish troops and Spirit Leech, which are pretty important here, and actually move a little bit further forward. There we go. The armies aren't free, but, well, not yet, but we'll get them there. Anyway, WAAAGH. Caravan. I think with the WA, you should still be able to auto-resolve it, at least I think so. Alrighty, beautiful. Auto-resolve, free money, and more importantly, the Slaughter Captives reward. Oh wow, barely any money from the actual fight though. But fine. And then you can go into Eckendorf, heal up to full, and then move back to Ulfraya afterwards. Lovely. Shrieking Blade for WAAAGH. Actually, Shrieking Blade's not bad for the orcs. It's kind of man, I generally have a tendency to delete it in other factions, but magical attack, fear, and terror, especially for Night Goblin big bosses, things like that, certainly can certainly put it to use. Anyway, nothing here, unfortunately, that we can turn into better items, so I guess we're just going to have to wait until we find more items. A giant spider for more bits, good for more bits. Hopefully he'll acquire some more bits. Anyway, and Bartorg Backbiter, you are moving towards Skarsnik. Would it be faster to march stance? It would not, because the forests are blocking us, which, you know, fair enough. Alright, go here, and you're nearly there to Skarsnik, wherein you will swap troops, and Skarsnik will go off to do his quest. Yeah, we can't leave. Oh, these guys have moved back, though. Maybe we risk it and move to deliver these guys, although then we go here, and then these guys immediately attack us, and then we lose these that we built and paid for. Just stay here. Frickin' Alright, it is what it is. You're supposed to deliver those Lava Fire Rider Spider Archer... Lava Spider Rider Archers, whatever. Rachnik, you are going to be a melee-heavy Spider Lord. Let's start building those Forest Goblin Spider Riders. We'll start with 6. We'll probably need more, but we'll wait. And the wolves will go into another army. You know what, let's build... actually, wait, what we need here is wolf chariots. And to build wolf chariots, what we need is to upgrade you. So we'll upgrade you. Alrighty, and we might as well do the building as well. Anyway, Icky, you're fine. You're waiting to meet up with Morglor Blood Reaper. And I would also like to check the... not the goblins. Poison again? Damn, alright. Giant River Troll Hags. We got another Great Crappa. Damn me if I remember where I was going to send you. You're a Great Crappa as well, right? Yeah, I wanted one with recovery to go to Skarsnik, but... alright, you already have one. You have one. Who doesn't have one? WAAAGH doesn't... oh no, WAAAGH does have one. Oh, has everybody got their River Troll Hags now? Let me just... double check this. You have one. The one is on the way here, and that's probably to join... well, I guess we could get one to Azdrag. Blorg... oh, wait, that one's going to Azdrag. Blorg needs one with recovery. Wait. Actually, you're holding on to Blorg's. Yeah, the Witch Doctor. Alright, well, we'll need to build another one, basically. And I guess we will build one. I guess that's the only close place again, isn't it? Well, it is what it is. Let's build another Great Crappa there. Like so, 4.7k. Good lord, they are expensive. And they get more and more expensive every turn because that's the way that SFO functions. I mean, Grom, Crooked, and all of you guys are supposed to join Skarsnik's army, but technically he doesn't have room until he transfers his stuff, so just stay there. Scout has, I believe, found WAAAGH. We should be in range of him now. Yes. And hey, without the Confederation debuff, we are now rising in... No, you know what, next snap is I'm gonna let you die. It's not worth to get that huge amount of debuff just for one territory. Those guys are an inferior WA. They have failed in their WAing, and that's really the one thing you can't fail at. Clan Treacherik. Oh right, they broke their non-aggression pact with us for some reason. I mean, I guess we could get it back up and running. I really don't want to go over here and fight them right now, and if they break it again, then they'll break it again. Clan Krizor we'll leave alone because they're basically destroyed, and I don't want to piss anybody off to get a very minor faction on the team, effectively. And let's see who else. Scout. Do you need to scout anybody else out? We found WAAAGH, we found WAAAGH, we found Grimgor. So we found everybody we need. Let's move you back south. We need you to find Red Eye. Red Shield, yeah, we need Red Eye. We found the Skull Smashers already. Oh, no, we haven't, actually. Okay, you can find the Skull Smashers after. Burning Face, I believe, and yeah, these guys are very far southward. If we bother with them, there isn't any real need, just the principle of the thing. Anyway, Skarsnik. What is this? Night Goblin Big Boss? We have another one right here, right? Yeah. Other Night Goblin Big Boss. There you go, Skarsnik. And then these two can move into the army once they're ready. Alright. And we do have a little bit of building to be building, but then we can end the turn and presumably fight and possibly get attacked. But the closer we get to Skarsnik quest battle, the better. Gotta fix our public order. It's horrendous in so many places. Hanging Rock. I guess you can keep building the Gabo Town. You're rather far away from the tier 5 anyway, so it's not a big enough deal. Black Crag. We've been waiting to upgrade you to tier 4, so let's upgrade you to tier 4. Lost Kypria. Yeah, keep building the Gabo Town. Borovska, more public order, or wait till tier 5? Let's wait till tier 5. It's still a fair bit, but it's a pretty critical thing to have. Stinking Geysers to tier 4. You just gotta keep an eye on the money. Broken Tooth Camp, you are nowhere near. I think we'll get you the boss's camp. Old Silk Road. We don't really need the defenses at Moonhowler's camp right now, but who knows? If Arbol decides to attack us, then we'll just have to deal with it. So just leave it as it is. Heldegrad, up to level 5 or tier 5. Lovely. You were waiting for that, and let's see. Pavona Road. We've got Tanea that we can upgrade immediately if we have the money, which we just barely do. Keep getting those raiding stashes. Always more raiding stashes, and the little amount of money that we get from the other thing. Isle of Zul, yeah, we can upgrade you and your stashes, and we have a Shaman's Hut, which will only provide its additional capacity here. And I think that's all we can do. Garrison Lord, unassigned hero, building, low funds. Oh, never mind, I guess we can't do that. Alright, low funds should hopefully not screw us over then. Outpost available, no, we can't afford it. And who knows if Clan Moors will actually stay friendly with us. Also, reach rank 14, meaning get Cunning Influencer and Subtle Spellcrafting, but mostly the upkeep reduction -5 is nice here. We could... Who has the most expensive army? You have 2.4k. Oh, right, we have 2 battles. Wow, I besieged 2 places and I promptly forgot. Come on, Ruinous, what are you doing, man? Alrighty, let's start the fighting. Wow, I can't believe it was going to end the turn. I mean, I guess they would have attacked us and then we would have fought them anyway, but, yeah, just go. Alrighty, here we go. Well, look at that Catchweb Spider Shrine. Actually, what is the difference between a regular Arachnarok and a Catchweb Spider Shrine? Does the Spider Shrine do anything interesting? Does it have some kind of trait that the regular Arachnaroks do not? Because I'm not seeing anything. I'm pretty sure this is all standard to Arachnarok spiders. I figured maybe the Spider Shrine would have some kind of webbing doing, or some kind of buff, some kind of support capability, but I'm not sure. I gotta double check and compare the two. If anybody knows, let me know, because I am quite curious. Ooh, Spider does look good in the moonlight, though. Lovely. Anyway, bounce power, what the heck am I talking about? The battle has not yet been joined. I decided to try at least to move the goblin bolt throwers towards the enemy mortars, but yeah, no dice. Mortars were able to hit them back at that range and then knock out a bunch of the crew, so we just decided to back them off. It does look like an enemy pile of little pistoliers moved towards us. We're going to try to get a few bolts thrown their way as well. See if they're accurate enough to knock at least a few of those pistoliers out. Maybe a few of the grudge thrower, too much dwarfs on the mind. The rock lobas going to fire at them away. Aha! Is it me, or are the stars moving through the sky really, really quickly here? I mean, look at that. Is it me, or is that insanely quickly? Huh. I wonder what the rotation speed of the Warhammer Fantasy world is. There's some very fast-moving stars. Pretty neat, though. Anyway, I had never looked up. Go figure. Don't look up, folks. Anyway, let's see. Oh, we're still firing away at that one single unit of pistoliers. Man, that's a lot of resources for one. We're down by about a quarter of our ammunition on all of our artillery and have nearly killed off one unit of pistoliers. Alright. Well, this is why I love goblin armies and the fact that you have to work for your victories to win with them. It takes a lot of resources to kill off even one unit. Speaking of killing off one unit, all of the grudge throwers, rock lobas, will switch now to the swordsmen that are moving in. Going to be a much easier target, or a much better target at least, for the rock lobas than the loose formation and large units that made up the pistoliers. And this unit will be in pretty bad shape pretty quickly, I'd wager, especially as it continues moving closer. And did send the Goblin Great Shaman on this Catchweb Spider Shrine to move towards the enemy, and man, that is a lot of enemies. That is a concerning amount of enemies, actually. I think this is actually going to be a pretty tough fight. We have barely anything of a WAAAGH. We can see that the WAAAGH units are all starting the battle with like 10-20% of their HP, so all we can do is just rush them at the enemy and hope they take a few hits. This particular enemy army does have a ton, and I mean a ton of range units. I'd say 3/4 of their entire army are ranged, which probably means, we can't do a shootout. I guess we're just going to have to rush them. We're just going to have to rush them. So we're going to send the goblins. We're just going to send the goblins towards the enemy, distract as many of them as we can, hopefully tie up the enemy melee units, at which point it'll be time to send our pump wagons through the enemy lines and try to tie up as many of those range units as we can. Obviously, it would be better to hold this hill, as it's a pretty good position, but this is just a huge amount of enemies that we have to somehow deal with. And the best way that we have of doing so is tying as many of them up in melee as we can. So, there go the gobs, and here come the pump wagons charging through the melee lines and going towards the range units behind them. Alright, there we go. Move it on in, and, well, we can at least keep 5, 6, maybe 7 if we're lucky units of range not firing by constantly moving in between them. And hopefully distracting more than a single unit at a time at those pump wagons. That's still not going to be anywhere near enough, as plenty more enemy range units will continue to fire. And Catchweb Spider Shrine, the Arachnarok, are going to hopefully dish out a little bit of damage as well, moving through the enemy, though it has been taking non-stop fire from the enemy pistoliers. And, well, eventually that fire will begin to tell, even as other units attempt to focus it down. And, ooh, we have a unit of Outriders here. That's not good. Single volley takes about 5-10% of the HP off of our unit. We need to distract those Outriders as well. As Outriders are pretty darn heavily damage dealing, or heavy damage dealing. Otherwise, our WAAAGH is not doing so good. Most of the WAAAGH units have already been destroyed, with the exception of 2 units of Boar Boys. And those 2 units of Boar Boys are the only units that started the battle with full HP, so we're going to put them to hopefully as good a use as we can. Nice trample / charge through that unit of crossbows, which takes about 40% of their HP. And we're just going to keep moving on to the next unit, and just continuing to tie up anything and everything. Enemy Lord flying around on that Imperial Pegasus is down to about 20% of his HP as well. Obviously, we're not firing anything at him. We're just spamming Overcast Spirit Leech across half the map to just keep bringing his HP down. There's really nothing that we have here that would be able to deal with him. Maybe Boar Boys if they completely surrounded him, or maybe Pump Wagons if they completely surrounded him, but, well, those are all very busy, and they're keeping us from getting obliterated by piles of enemy range. Anyway, the battle continues, and it's a truly hectic one, massive battlefield, tons of casualties on both sides. And the battle yet continues. This turned out to be a pretty good one. Damn, I'm enjoying this. And I do like it when it's like a massive battlefield like this. Although it is admittedly a little bit hard to tell what's going on, you can at least see the pump wagons charging on through. Unfortunately, I think 3 of our goblin mainline units have broken at this point and are trying to run away. Obviously, they were losing against the great swords and the halberdiers. Normally, they would be getting help from the pump wagons, but since the pump wagons are just riding around trying to distract all the enemy range units, they can't be helping with that. That said, I'd wager that the pump wagons are racking up plenty of damage. And just out of curiosity, you're, well, actually, 68 kills and 17,000. Well, you got a lot of damage, 18,000, but not a lot of kills. This one was probably going after a unit of cab as, well, actually. Logie bogies are also chasing units down, and I guess another issue is that we have to actually chase units down, so it's not enough to actually just rout the units of crossbows and handguns and whatnot. We have to chase them down, or they'll just come back, and then a couple of volleys will bring the pump wagons down, because pump wagons are very fragile as well. Speaking of fragile, it looks like the enemy is now charging the hill and is moving its way towards our units of artillery. Ooh, nice volley from the enemy Outriders, and we'll bring down a couple of the goblin bolt throwers. We're going to try to fire back pretty much point blank into them. And we just don't have the units to defend our artillery anymore. All we can do is hope that the units of goblins that have come back, that have rallied after routing, will be able to defend the artillery. Though it looks like just barely, just as the enemy had finally reached the rock lobbers at the top of the hill that had been firing down upon the enemy for this entire battle. I'm doing okay in terms of damage. Obviously nothing like an artillery-focused faction's artillery, but still pretty neat. And we got plenty of pretty interesting cinematic shots of them doing work. But anyway, just as the enemy finally made its way up the hill, past our goblins, past our irritating pump wagons, the enemy army shatters, and the balance of power shifts fully in our favor, and the battle is ours. Lovely. Definitely a close one there. Interesting to see the the rock lobbers actually pretty much out of ammunition. And by the looks of it, we should have been able to chase down a lot of the enemy here as well, including some of those fire wizards, which I believe, well, it got some kind of effect off with the ground freezing. Makes sense. I'm not being sarcastic, it does make sense. Ooh, alrighty, a really nice fight, though we did suffer a fair bit of damage and got ourselves a Pyrrhic victory. Now granted, our WAAAGH came onto the battlefield already heavily damaged with the exception of just 3 units, 2 orc boys and 1 unit of goblins. Everybody else was up like 20% HP, so effectively we're fighting 2.5 stacks with gobos and without the WAAAGH. Still, did pretty darn decently. The goblin rock lobbers hovering between 11 and 15k, which isn't too bad. Certainly it outdid the enemy mortars. The pump wagons, of course, were the stars of the show, and I mean, this is a goblin ingenuity army, and thus it makes sense for them to have done fairly well. well, the bolt throwers were there. There wasn't really anything that was an ideal target for them in this particular situation, so hardly surprising. Gobos did okay. 14k, I believe, was the most damage on them, and that went to an unnamed unit rather than one of the named ones. And for the pump wagons, it looks like the spiky nuisance at 2200 or 22,000 damage and 171 kills carried the day. Anyway, WAAAGH. Yeah, I really shouldn't have sent WAAAGH in so early because it essentially made him get damaged. I think we want to loot and occupy. We're out. I don't quite remember. We might be out of range, as in if we sack, we won't be able to get back into the settlement. We could risk it though and just raid. I think we're just at the edge of the range. Well, let's risk it and find out. Sack and stop moving. Okay, that guy has to move first. If you could just stop moving. Yeah, that was all the way at the edge of the range. Didn't even have a tiny bit of movement remaining. Oh well, you can raid for the turn and then get it back up and running next turn. Not a problem. Oh wow, Remos is a high-tier settlement. I'm going to take some effort to bring it down. Hey, a banner of swiftness at last. Oh, I've been waiting for one of these for the entire damn campaign. Enemy killed in battle, giant spider for decay. I don't care about any of this. I only care... Huh? Wait, why did his tactic get removed after attacking? What the heck? Which tactic got removed? Weird. I'm just curious. This was WAAAGH. Regimental on cooldown 1 turn. Why would it have been regimental? That was a fight, it wasn't an end turn. And this was something else. Odd. Tremendously odd. Does it matter? Not so much, but it was tremendously odd. Anyway, you can have a point. Let's get back here, and we're soon going to be able to get the rank 7s for the grudge returners, or just generally the rock lobbas and the pump wagons, which is good. What about you? Not rank 10 yet. Replenish troops is maxed out. We're getting closer and closer to retinue physician as well, which is certainly going to be needed, so stick around. Anyway, Gorbad, you've been using the Scarecrow banner because reasons, but what we really want for you is that banner of swiftness. There we go, giving you Strider on top of 25% speed and Wayfarer. Don't underestimate the acceleration and deceleration offered by that. Love it. And you're going to attack this, I guess, next turn. Huh. Yeah, maybe we can make these two into biggins. They've been with us for a long time, and while they... why not? Nothing else to evolve here anyway. Oh, and I noticed this. Looks like at rank 7, the dig-in trait does indeed work. So I guess it's only Ruglad's armored orcs that are broken, which don't get the dig-in trait despite being rank 9. I was very concerned about them all being broken, but it looks like the tactical boys work and the Ruglads don't. Which is a shame, but oh well, they at least have bleed on them even if they don't get the extra range out of dig-in. So there is that. Anyway, we have another fight, and that's the Skaven fight. So that's Grom. Grom, you're going to level up, then we're going to get on into it. Now, Speak with Spiders offers us a +5 leadership on the Spider units. Their leadership is... actually, it's already pretty good at 65. I think actually Dust Wanderer is the better trait, because we don't care about the poison attacks. You're going to be on a Catchweb Spider Shrine, which gives us the Toxic Venom anyway, so this effectively does nothing. I guess it's good if you're on a giant wolf, but then what the heck would be the point? That's kind of a weird trait, to be perfectly honest. I think this needs to be... somebody needs to look at this. And the leadership is kind of mad. It's useless. Well, I mean, the Arachnaroks don't have a crazy amount of leadership. Once they have veterancy and upgrades, they'll be fine. I'm going to say 10% speed is the better pick here, so we'll go for Dust Wanderer for you. You're rank 11, and let's get you the biggest teeth. You are rank 10. We can get you Hollerin, Stickum Boys, Troll Piss, and the biggest teeth again. There we go. Decent little power up prior to the fight. You can have 1 point in Replenish Troops and 1 point in Soul Blight, and then once we're in tough as nails, we'll start going through Retinue Physician for you as well. Anyway, time to keep getting revenge on these darn rats. Valiant defeat, casualties hike, and perhaps unsurprisingly, you, Death Creepers, can have the War Banner. And yeah, it should still be a toughie. We've got more melee troops to be concerned about out of the settlement garrison than we did last time we fought, where the enemy had a bunch of weapon screws. Though they do still have a decent pile of gutter runners, as well as some of those plague claw catapults. Anyway, go, go, go. Alrighty, here we go. Should be a pretty interesting fight, and we gotta keep getting revenge on bloody Clan Gnaw for annoying us so. And I think we should be able to do so with gusto here. Now, technically speaking, our forest goblins, at least, are a lot weaker in this particular battle because they no longer have stick 'em like pigs, and it's such a critical plan to have as it powers up the spear units a fairly considerable amount. However, the forest goblins may be weaker, but the Skaven might not be expecting the fact that our spiders are probably twice as strong as they were the last time we fought. And the reason for that is, on top of the fact that they've gotten additional melee defense and physical resistance out of Gobspit's traits, they have a healing ability now called Feeding Frenzy, also provided by the Spider Gob, which will continuously heal them as long as they are in melee, which means charging those clan rats, charging those Skaven slaves, etc. will, well, do good for us. And speaking of charging, unlike the last time we fought this this particular faction, we are going to go straight on in and just try to close the distance as quickly as possible. Partly to take advantage of the spiders and the fact that they will heal in melee, but also nice charge into those, and if those were Skaven slave slingers or night runners or gutter runners, doesn't really matter. Partly to take advantage of the spiders healing and just to prevent those plague claw catapults from firing for as long as we can. We gotta take the offensive here and build up some momentum and then keep it going. And on top of that, prior we had to deal with the enemy warp bombs, which the enemy doesn't have anymore, so we're safe to close the distance and blob up with our spiders and our forest gobs as well. And if we can force the enemy to blob up like this, which is the major, well, one major enemy blob here, that'll mean we can repeatedly drop debuffing spells on them. We start with that, not the Soul Blight. We follow up with the Soul Blight, we start with the Itchy Nuisance, and just significantly reduce the enemy's stats. Does look like one of our regular forest goblins has been defeated, hardly surprising, without stick 'em like pigs. They were fighting against storm vermin. But fortunately, while they back off, we're going to send more spiders their way. Unfortunately, the enemy does have those menaces below, and they will menace our poor gobos on the battlefield, while the spiders continue to menace them in turn. Now, this particular army is a garrison force, so we just have to rout them off the battle. We don't have to kill them all, unlike the reinforcing force, which is coming in, and unlike that one, which we will have to destroy. And I may be getting a little bit ahead of myself, but, well, I think it's inevitable that we will win this because our spiders are so much stronger than they were before. Our gobos, our forest gobos, may be taking damage, but you can see the HP of the spiders, and they're causing absolute havoc, doing constant counter charges, and barely taking any damage. Now, Snagla Grobspit is the one that's taken by far the most damage, because as weird as it seems, and I kind of really dislike this mechanic because it happens across the entire game with every faction. There's this weird tendency of lords and heroes to provide buffs for their signature units, and oftentimes, despite them themselves being a signature unit of the same type, they don't then provide that same buff either to themselves or to hero variants of the same kind of unit. So we can see every single basic spider rider has Feeding Frenzy and heals up. Snagla Grobspit does not, despite being the hero here. I'm gonna have to give him like a well, we can't give him recovery, but we can give him one of those Seed of Rebirth, maybe? I was planning to do that earlier anyway. Probably do that. I don't remember if he has room for a healing potion, but I'm pretty sure he does have room for a talisman, so that should be possible. But yeah, they really need to rethink the way that some of those work, because I always find it very bizarre. Guy leads a bunch of Chosen, and is a Chosen, and buffs the Chosen to get a bunch of traits, and then doesn't get the traits himself. This is not a big deal, just I don't know, a little bit of a Total Warhammer pet peeve, I guess. Anyway, looks like the bounce power has shifted to about 80%. Well, not really 80%, 65. I jumped jumped ahead in time a little bit in my head. 65% in our favor, but at the very least the first army is pretty much destroyed with the exception of some of the elements in the big blob here. And the enemy is still hitting us back with spells, a pestilent breath going through our lines of gobs and spiders. And though, of course, being much more threatening to the spiders than or to the gobs than the spiders here. Speaking of spiders, we're doing a ton of work specifically with the deaf creepers. Look at their kill count climb there. Look at that. They were just at 805. They're up to 840 now. 850. 870. 880, damn, these guys are killing fast, and that's because of this melee application of that lethal toxin, or toxic venom, rather. It's real nice. Alrighty, and just as the enemy casts Pestilent Breath on us, we charge in with more spiders, and I don't think that the enemy has a prayer. The bounce power has shifted to about 90% in our favor now. All the remaining units on the field still getting charged by those spiders, causing absolute havoc. And oh, look at them glide on the ice. They're so quick, too. Strider plus 124 move speed. Ain't it fantastic? That don't even look like... They are actually gliding across the ice, aren't they? Wonderful. Anyway, with that, I do believe these spiders carry the day. And this isn't even a spider army, it's just a spider-adjacent army. Can't wait to have some Arachnaroks and such, well, not such, but various kinds of Arachnaroks, and join this host as well. Anyway, a very nice fight and another defeat for Clan Gnaw. Alrighty, very, very nice. So, oh wow, 13,000 damage and 111,000, well, 13,000 kills and 111,000 damage on the Death Creepers. Once again, don't underestimate units with that toxic venom trait, as this is the only unit that we have that had it, and was just rushing through the enemies, and that despite being a Spider Rider Archer unit. As to why it was able to do that, we now, at least what we didn't have in previous battle, when we suffered fairly, well, quite a bit of damage. Admittedly, we also didn't have to face off against the warp bombs this time around, but I don't remember the name. That Feeding Frenzy. Snagla Grobspit gives Spider Rider units Feeding Frenzy at the last level that he had reached, which we didn't have in the previous battle and we did in this one, which gives the Spider units all heals as they fight. So that worked out pretty darn well in keeping these guys alive and rushing around through the enemy lines, as well. They certainly pulled off a fairly large amount of damage. But yeah, 13,000 kills, or 1,300 kills and 111,000 damage. Fantastic job to the Death Creepers there. Otherwise, Snaggle got 11,000 and was stunting lords and heroes the entire time, and most of the enemy army and such are destroyed. We're going to... I guess we're just going to regular occupy it. We could loot and occupy. We can't sack, and I'm not sure the 2.6k is worth the looting of it. And we're right at the edge of our range, so yeah, we'll occupy the place. And we'll keep working on... What the heck are you doing? Did he just move twice? Is him here, did he just move twice? I guess it doesn't really matter, but hey, Grom got his Perfect Vigor and Campaign movement range. Not yet on his Spider Shrine, but eventually he'll get there. Lots of enemies killed in battle. You can keep the Opal Amulet for now, though we will eventually change it later. Anyway, you can be Gob Scream, yep, I knew I was going to get confused by that one. And let's name a couple of these guys as well. Web Surfers. And let's do Skittering Stalkers. That kind of feels appropriate together with the Death Creepers. And also, have we named... Okay, well, let's name at least one of the unit of Forest Gobs. They deserve some names. You can be Silk Road Trailblazers. Let's do that. Alrighty, there we go. And let's see, you leveled up one level from that only, unfortunately. Probably about time we start going through Riders, though. And yeah, you could probably use another point in Sneaky Stabbing and such to keep it permanently, well... It's -1 magic cost. It's already super cheap, but the ability to keep it up constantly is really nice. Actually, Sneaky Stealing would have been helpful in that particular fight. Let's go Sneaky Stealing, then we'll do Sneaky Stab, and then we'll start moving through this. Although it wouldn't be a bad idea to have Curse of the Bad Moon up and running as well. I'll think about it. Anyway, you, Giant River Troll Hag, you will want another point in Soul Blight, methinks. And then you guys, I guess you can start moving through Shroomsin. Ambusher with Vanguard deployment might not be a bad idea for you guys either. You know what? I would like you to possibly Vanguard deploy. So let's do Ambusher on you and you. And then, ooh, alright, so yeah, this was the Digestive Venom passive ability Feeding Frenzy for Spider Rider. You know, it's missile resistance, melee attack, and able to defend melee, interestingly enough, and speed. So yeah, he's better off commanding a melee-focused spider army. Anyway, Grim Trophies, more melee defense and more physical resistance. Keep making these Spider Riders nastier and nastier. Lovely. Alright, now we did get a, well, we did get an okay amount of money out of that, so I think we will be able to get a little bit more building. Yubrovska are waiting. I forgot which territory we stopped at, so we're just going to take another look. Isle of Zul, you are actually okay. Let's get that Shaman's Hovel up and running for additional Shaman capacity. You are not going to upgrade because you're waiting for Tier 5, though we do have 2 Tier 5s coming up. We're looking okay here. Akendorf and Ulfreya. Yeah, I guess we can upgrade you. I'm a little bit worried that it'll immediately get attacked by an army that we can't see, which is a distinct possibility, but I guess we'll see. Fosric's Crater. You are not waiting for Tier 5, just feel free to go to Gabo Town. Black Mountains, we have a lot of potential here. I'm gonna say start with the raiding hideout because that's what we always do and want to do everywhere. I might as well build the Horde as well. Blizzard Peaks. You have the Shaman's Hovel. Okay, so you have the capacities out of these 2, which was the important thing. I guess we could get the Heap of Shining stuff, but it's not like the place is going to be collecting income anytime soon. Yeah, we'll just leave it alone for now. Lost Archway of Valea, still haven't decided what to do with you now. And I guess, oh, the plagues are done here, meaning we can switch you to Camp Ruckus, switch you to Camp Ruckus, and start collecting income here and here. Which is a fair bit, and hey, positive income. It won't be positive after 2 turns, after all those biggins and boar boys are built, but, well, at least we have it for now. Yeah, really, we can't make use of the wine trade good. I guess really it says wine, but it really is probably grapes, and well, we need to make mushroom brew, so it's a little bit different. Fair enough, game. Pavona. I guess we'll just build the raiden stashes. Alrighty. Can't go wrong with that one. What about you, Trantio? You can get, I guess, start with the boss's shack, it's the most critical one, and then start building the Gabo tunnels, just because it takes a long time to build them. Strutto, I don't really care about, and we're going to ignore, and there we go. We will skip, 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 and then we will check Diplo, and then, assuming that there's nothing interesting here, and there is not, we will end the turn. Like, wait. Maybe out of March stance if this guy attacks us, so we're about to find out. Oh, this guy's probably going to annoy us and start raiding here. Recruitment highs minus 5% after you've done all that recruitment. Well, good for you, Skarsnik, I guess. Nothing scavengers, more swindlers, ever more swindlers. I wonder if I gave swindlers to Skarsnik's... yes, I did. Alright, good. Alright, and Nemesis Crown sealed away. How dare you? That should belong... Oh, what? We got a new plague? How did this plague even get here? No, seriously, how did this Skaven plague get here? What the heck? Who transferred this? There's no plagues here. Huh. Did one of the Skaven factions use the thing? You know, the thing. Well, whatever. Brag about the boss, I guess we're gonna have to switch to you. And we had just dealt with the plagues there, but what can you do? Tactic unlocked, keep bossing for the trolls, giant wolf, and our income goes negative again, but that's hardly surprising. Starting on bigger and better bosses now, and after that we'll unlock Oglock the Orbital and get him 3 or 5 or whatever ranks it was higher, and then he currently is. Anyway, folks, with that, I do believe we're out of time, and I'm going to call the episode here. Next time we, will continue destroying the Southern Realms and probably complete our WAAAGH, as we're nearly there to Varetza. Still a fair bit of battling to do here. Oh, that's why we went negative. We completed the construction recruitment of all of those biggins for Mr. Blorg, and well, he'll put those guys to good use. Ooh, we have a shipwreck here as well. Anyway, we'll have to build up a boar boy chariot location somewhere, and I guess that'll probably be this place. And just so we can build them and add one more turn until the tier 5 is ready, and then we just got to build the deep spy to Leia's and whatever else tier 5 we need for our fancier units. Anyway, more stuff to come. Skarsnik's quest battle also up and running next episode, unless I'm mistaken. And, ooh, hello. I'll still probably do this between the episodes. It's not much, and we can send both armies in theory. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, more stuff to come, more Blorgan, more Gorbading. Skarsnik's quest battle plus Gorbad's battle against Cardinal Stare, and basically a little bit over 2 stacks of Cornates. Should be fun for Gorbad and testing out the new dig-in powered up units of tactical boys. All glory to the algorithm. Likes and comments below will determine length of campaign, and thanks for watching.